What was it like building a business out here in a growing jurisdiction?
I think it was very different than it is now. I think if we look back 5, 10, 15 years ago, I think the reputation of the industry out here was tainted through a variety of issues, from unqualified advisors to unregulated businesses. And when we established Harrison Rowe, we had the opportunity to go and partner, it was in 2018, with a couple of different businesses in order to establish. We went with Dan and Mark at Arlo, because they had the business that ultimately had the best reputation in the environment. And whilst the reputation at the time in the industry was really poor, you could see that evolving with increasing regulations, the tightening of regulations, the implementation of the regulations. And so for us, it was about building a business that would last the length of time against what everything else that was being done across the industry. And I think we talk about it regularly, where it must be quite difficult to build a really good business in an environment where everyone else is doing the right thing. You've really got to separate yourself with a good USP. And what's became quite apparent initially as Harrison Rowe, and then ultimately as soon as we became AHR, was if you build a business that's based around delivering the best outcomes to clients and provide the best platform for everybody who operates within it, and your USP is just doing the right thing, then suddenly it became very, very easy to build the business and grow through having the right brand, the right reputation, the right outcome for clients. And so it was difficult in the outset. I mean, moving here, we talked about yesterday, was facing the uphill battle of bad reputation. But I think we're now reaping the rewards of all the work that's been done over the last 8 years, and then even longer. I mean, was it 12 years for Arlo?
And Tyla, when you qualified as a financial planner, you were very young, weren't you? So do you think that having had that experience in the UK, which is obviously highly regulated, and dealing with the FCA in that space and whatnot, do you think that gave you quite a good background when you were setting up the business here?
I think it did, but to be honest, back then when I moved here, it was still very difficult because not many people even knew what that meant, and the market wasn't very mature, right? So there was a lack of qualifications, and also when you come from the UK, it doesn't mean you necessarily know how to build a new client bank from here. Because when I was in the UK at a bank, you just follow process. You get given clients. The clients want to meet you. So coming out here was still very different. So as much as I felt it would be beneficial, it probably wasn't as beneficial in the early stages. As the market has matured, I think now being highly qualified is actually a lot. It gives you a lot more credibility because people understand what it means now, and I think the market here genuinely has matured. The quality of advice has got better, but I'd say at the early stages it probably wasn't as impactful as I was probably hoping. Is the truth.
So we're obviously now part of a bigger business. When you were looking to sell your business, you had a few suitors to court, didn't you? What made you go with Titan?
Well, to be honest with you, we weren't looking to sell. Our original target, I actually started this myself. You know, I think it was Tyla and Mark that I'd sort of said, I think we need to raise some capital. I think we need to expand. And I think the thing that aligned us to what ultimately became Titan was we were effectively looking to do a buy and build. Like, you know, we had a great business. It wasn't for sale. We wanted capital to expand and to grow and develop our culture, the environment, and be in different jurisdictions, which we did achieve. I'd spent that period meeting people saying, look, this is what we'd like to achieve. This is what I think we can achieve. We created a deck that I still have. I looked through it the other day. And it's amazing. You look at that with a great amount of pride. But having spent 12 months meeting investment houses and family offices and everything, and being offered the money, but then being expected to move your clients into investments that we just didn't think were suitable, we were just going to continue as was. We reinvested everything into the guys and the business and everything else. And then I wasn't begged, but strong-armed into meeting Titan. I met Mark Livesey. We had a great conversation just down here next to the swimming pool of all places in true Dubai fashion. Tyla and I then met James. And I think it's clear, we laugh now because we went through a year of ups and downs like you wouldn't believe, but the deal was done in effect from meeting one or two. You know, it's impossible not to be impressed by James when you meet him. We really like the vision, the ethics, the morals, what they wanted to achieve. They didn't have an international arm to them. Obviously, your part of the business was still in that transition period. So we saw a massive opportunity to come in and develop what they'd built in the UK, but also satisfy our dreams and ambitions by building a large international business. And I think that, you know, without wanting to self-promote, I think in the last 12, 18 months, I think we've done an incredible job of certainly expanding the footprint, putting in the groundwork, building the staff. And now it's just going back to the things that particularly Will and Tyler are amazing at in terms of delivering for the guys to be the best that they can be. So it's really exciting for us these next 12, 24, 36 months because everything's now built. And obviously we're relatively well capitalised as well, which makes having built a business like we did from scratch, it's a hell of a lot easier having money than not having it.